Do you struggle to find answers to your pelvic health problems? Do you feel silenced in your quest to just feel better? Women, girls, sisters, if you have experienced infertility, PCOS, incontinence, painful periods, sexual trauma, and so much more associated with the pelvis, then Women's Pelvis Wellness is a place for you. Me and experts from around the world are joining here to get you the answers to the holistic health that you have been seeking. Please join us in being a pelvis wellness warrior. Thank you for joining us today. We have Petek Tatli back here again, and she is a vaginismus healing facilitator. She herself has experienced vaginismus in her life. She's a certified yoga instructor. She teaches yoga and meditation. She's also the founder of Yes, We Can Cure Vaginismus Together and Overcoming Vaginismus Together. Her website is www.yeswecancure.com. She's currently living between two countries, Istanbul, Turkey, and Chiang Mai, Thailand, rather, sorry.
Yeah.
She is super passionate about helping people with vaginismus, one of the sexual dysfunctions, raise awareness of this condition and how they can take action to overcome it before they lose any more time living with it in silence. They can have pain-free penetrative sex, feel more confident, empowered, and whole. Thank you so much, Petek, for being here with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much for having me, Amy.
And I wanted to share, like I did in the shorter interview, that, I've been a woman my whole life. and I've worked in healthcare, taking care of geriatric women, since I was 17. I transitioned into, more holistic treatments, energy healing, massage therapy. And I've been specifically working in women's pelvic health for 2.5 years. And I had never heard of this condition.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful that I put that post out in the Yogini group. I thought that was amazing. And you commented on that, and here we are. So I thank you for being vulnerable and for being authentic and really bringing awareness to this condition that many, many, many women suffer with worldwide, and most have probably never heard of. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Amy. Thank you.
So if you could just share a little bit about, kind of your own story and what I have found, many years ago, and just it seems more and more and more as I get into this arena that women who have businesses like yours, they have to create that healing for themselves because they can't find it anywhere else. So we heal women from what we needed healing from.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we had to kind of create our own path.
Yeah.
So again, even more reason, to have people like you on. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you also. So yeah, I lived with this condition for more than 10 years. And when I'm 38 now, when I turned 30, I said, wow, it's enough. I mean, it's enough. How long, Petek, do you want to wait till you turn 40 or 50 just to take action on curing this condition? I mean, I have a condition and I need to take care of it. Right. I can not ignore it anymore. That was the first time in my life that I really wanted to overcome this condition. Then I took action, Amy. Like literally, it was on my birthday, 5th of May. And I sat down in front of the computer and I looked for the help because it was the first time that I was looking for the help online, or outside. And then I had an appointment. Then I went to the clinics and I got cured of it in 3 days, physically. Right. But it took me like 11 days plus 3 days, actually. 11 years plus 3 days, actually.
Right.
And I simply ignored this condition. Why I do right now what I do is just because of raising the awareness on this condition, and also tell women that they don't have to wait that long. It is really curable. And I was very embarrassed by this condition, by living with this condition. So it was very hard to talk about it. And only my mom and one of my best friends knew it, and all my partners knew it, of course. But I was pretending like having sex, with my friends. They were talking about their sex life, and I was pretending also I had one. It was very heavy also to pretend someone that I was not actually. So um I turned 30 and I said, yes, I want to overcome this condition, and I could overcome it. At the time, if there would be one single woman in front of me saying that she had this condition and she could overcome it, and she knew that how to overcome it, and then I wouldn't lose those years,
Right.
because it was hard to take action. That's where I am in the role. I mean, that's where I am helping women. Like,
Right.
you can overcome this condition. It's treatable. It's curable. Because the more you live with this condition, the harder it is to believe that you can overcome it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And like you said, it was 3 days physically.
Physically, it was 3 days,
Yeah.
literally.
So what happened in those 3 days? How did you physically get cured from it?
Yeah, basically, there are dilator sets. They're coming mostly as 5 dilators. Uh, they have different sizes. The smallest one is almost like pinky finger size,
Sure.
and then it
And you
goes
said
up.
they're basically like a dildo,
Like a dildo, but
but they
it's
don't vibrate.
no, they don't
No.
vibrate.
Right.
No, they don't vibrate. In different sizes, and the last size is almost like a penis
Sure.
size.
Hmm.
And then basically, where I went to was a clinic, and the
Sure.
gynecologist helped me to do it. But normally, women are buying those sets, and they are practicing with those dilators. So basically, what you do at the moment is, wow, I have a hole. I
Right.
have an entry, because you don't believe that you have a hole, you
Yeah.
know. Even if you see, yeah, in the porn they have a hole, and or
Yeah.
people can have sex, but this is different for me. I can not even put the tip of my finger. So how can I insert a penis? So this is really unbelievable for a woman with
Sure.
vaginismus. I mean, in my case, it was like that. So when you insert a dilator, insert anything into your vagina, it's like a transformation. Wow, I can insert something. So I have a hole.
Sure.
Then it's easier to believe in that you can insert a largest size also.
Sure.
But everybody's path is different, everybody's time is different. Most of the
Sure.
time, while dilating, we have lots of difficulties, conflicts,
Hmm.
whenever we encounter a pain, how we are treating to the pain, or how we are talking to ourselves, how we are um, trying to push forward against the pain, is exactly how we are in our daily day life. So we are actually reflecting our habits while we're dilating too. So that's why it's really important to get to know ourselves more, how we are talking to ourselves,
Right.
how we are discouraging, how we are not motivating ourselves, right? How we are saying like, it's going to be very painful. I knew that you couldn't do it. I knew that you couldn't do it. That kind of sound, that
Right.
kind of voice is most of the time there. So it's hard not to listen to that voice and continue to dilate. That's why it can take long time to do it with consistency, because it's really important to dilate with consistency.
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're just taking those dilators that they come, like you said, the smallest is about your pinky finger, and then it just goes up in small increments, and you just insert that and wait till your body relaxes, or
Yeah, exactly.
okay,
There are muscles in our vagina. So
sure,
those muscles need to relax, need to be trained to relax.
exactly,
So we are training our muscles while working with the dilators, actually.
right,
And yeah, we are enlarging our capacity, vaginal capacity, and we're getting used to something in us also. We're
right,
getting used to the idea that something can insert also
without pain.
without pain. Yeah, without pain, of course.
Yeah, I can totally see how the energetic and emotional and mental aspect of it would be it would take much longer and would be much more difficult to heal the
Yeah,
woman from than the physical side of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And most of the time, Amy, it was really hard for me while living with vaginismus. I was most of the time having very depressed mood. You know, things were triggering me, and I was ending up thinking, I am not worthy, I am not lovable, I am a mistake. This condition while living with this condition, you're so open to many different triggers. Even my trigger, for instance, to see a pregnant woman. Whenever I saw a pregnant woman, then I was just saying, "Hey, Petek, look at you." And I was also, comparing myself to her. Look at her. She could have sex, and look at you. You cannot have sex. Bravo. That kind of
Yeah.
voice was in me. And
Oh,
then that trigger was becoming like my I was ending up thinking like, oh, I am a mistake eventually. So that was my cycle. I was
right.
getting triggered by something and feeling very sad, and then that voice was talking and talking. I was feeling sorry for myself,
Yeah.
pitying myself. That these feelings are very heavy to deal with, to cope with.
Sure. Yeah, I
Then
can see that.
I was getting lost in those thoughts, and I was feeling very depressed. It became harder and harder and harder while living with this condition. Yeah.
Sure. And I don't know what it is how it is in the two cultures that you live, but here in America, I feel like we still have that expectation of, well, you're going to grow up, you're going to get married, and you're going to have children. I mean, that's just what you do. I mean, I know that that's not across the board. That was certainly the culture in my family.
Mhm.
You're going to grow up and you're going to get married and you're going to have a kid. That's just what you do. So when you can't have children for whatever reason, it is terribly shameful.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously help. This is one of the things I help women with is, them to be able to have a child regardless of their condition. And then you constantly have the people asking, when are you going to have babies? When are you going to have babies? How come you
Yeah.
don't have babies yet? All the time. Even after I was married and had a child, I still had people saying, well, when are you going to have another baby? You know, my first two children are only 15 months apart.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, when your baby is 5, 6 months old and people are saying, when are you going to have another one? I'm like, dude, I just had this one.
Can we
you
enjoy?
know, and then you tell them, hey, guess what? I'm pregnant again. And then they're like, wow, so soon? They're going to be really close together. Well, so I can imagine that would be just so, again, like you said, so incredibly heavy because not only are you not able to have the children, and that would be triggered, but you can't even have sex,
You can't
which,
even.
when you're going into a partnership, I mean, that would almost trigger PTSD. I could see just how scared you would be, like, I'm going to have to tell this person, and what are they going to say?
Yeah, but Amy, it's so interesting though. Mind is so interestingly powerful. So, which is good news actually, so that we
Yes,
can
very good.
transform our unhealthy habits into the ones which can serve us also, right? But I was creating an environment for me which was safe. What I mean from that is I was in the relationships that I was with men who I was not sexually attracted to.
Right.
I love them. I love them, of course, but I was not sexually attracted to them. And I stayed in one of them. In one of my relationships took for 3 years, and the other one for 5 years. It was
Wow.
very safe, Amy. It was very
Right.
safe. So I didn't need to think about overcoming this condition because it was all right for them. So to have supportive husbands or partners is really nice, is really good. But
Yeah.
also, it's really important to see how we are, how we feel there. Like, it shouldn't be very comfortable, also, right? We need to get out of this comfort zone because
Right.
to um it's hard to take a step to heal. It was easy for me to stay there, so that I didn't need to find another man that I would feel a little bit more sexually attraction. But actually, I was also saying, when I fall in love, then I will feel relaxed and open my vagina. And that was one of my beliefs,
Sure.
one of the stories that I was telling to myself. But I was choosing a man who I was not sexually attracted to. So there was a conflict.
Sure.
So I was saying, I want to overcome it. But actually, when you look at my actions, it was not related. I was not creating that I was creating that safe space, comfortable place, and it was all
Sure.
right. So it was easier to ignore this condition.
Sure. Yeah.
And I
That makes
ignored till I turned 30. It's unbelievable,
Yeah.
though. Yeah. And when I overcame vaginismus physically, I asked my ex-partner to meet again because I was single when I took action. And we met and we tried again, and it didn't happen. I didn't want him, you know. I didn't want to allow him in me because it's not just only inserting a penis into your vagina thing. It's a
Sure.
whole thing, actually.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
I didn't want to have penetrative sex with him. But look at that. I stayed in that relationship for 5 years, you know,
Right.
because it was easier to stay in that
Well,
kind of.
sure, because you knew that he wouldn't press the issue, so then you didn't have to.
Yeah, exactly. And it was all right. I was not turning on that much. I was not, I I I was even like I was even thinking, like, maybe I am asexual, maybe I'm not interested into sex anymore. And then I thought maybe I'm just interested into women. I really wanted to understand if I was interested into women, and then I saw that it was not my interest.
Sure.
You start to believe, oh, maybe it's okay not to have sex. If you intentionally choose not to have sex, that's all right, of course, right?
Sure.
That's all right. But it was not coming from that place. It was coming from, okay, you can ignore Petek. You can ignore it as long as
Right.
you want because you don't want sex, okay? So you can stay in the relationship. Look, you can also have a relationship. No worries. So you can ignore it. So mind has that much power. If we
Right.
don't look at it, we can just listen to it, you know. It was really
Sure.
powerful for me to see that, wow, I am creating that safe space for myself, that
Right.
comfortable space, environment for myself.
Yeah. And it's easy to do. It's easy to do. I
See?
mean, it's kind of how we're programmed, a lot of humans. So when a client comes to you, how do you help them through the work that you do?
So, first and foremost, they have to be diagnosed with this condition by a doctor.
Sure.
And this is really important by a gynecologist. It's really important to be diagnosed. And we are working on our mindset. We're working on, because we're using mindfulness practices. So there are home assignments. We are talking about cognitive side of our mind, and we are practicing meditation so that we're getting closer to our patterns also. We are learning during the sessions, and also during each practice, because women coming to me are also practicing mindfulness meditation in their daily life. So it is helping us to getting closer to ourselves. We are learning what kind of habits we have. We're learning how we are treating ourselves, with respect or with disrespect. What kind of thoughts arising and what kind of emotions arising accompanying to those thoughts, and how we are feeling those, how we are experiencing in our bodies. So we are learning to respond to our patterns, thinking patterns in a different way, rather than getting lost in them. We're just bringing our attention back to the moment, back to the bodily sensations. So rather than avoiding them, we are learning to look at them. So also while dilating, because there is a part that we are also dilating. While dilating, also we are looking at the pain or the fear of having pain.
Right.
And coming back to the present moment, coming back to the bodily sensations, rather than trying to push forward against the pain. We're learning to be more compassionate towards ourselves. We learn how to be more kind to ourselves. So these attitudes are not that easy to cultivate. So I'm helping women to cultivate those skill sets while practicing mindfulness and during the sessions.
Right. It's just so interesting, because we would never say to our children or to our loved ones the things that we say to ourselves.
Yeah.
Because
Exactly.
it's mean.
It's mean.
Because it's mean, and it's just, you're just beating yourself down, and we're not even aware of it. I remember because I had two babies very close together, both by C-section, and I remember being absolutely disgusted.
Yeah.
And I remember when I had an ultrasound, we did not find out the sex of our first baby. We were surprised, but I knew it was a boy because, mother's intuition. The second baby, I knew it was a girl, but their dad wanted confirmation. So they did, during the ultrasound, they said it was a girl. And in that moment, when they said that it was a girl, I prayed that she would look like her father so she would be pretty. Because I literally hated how I looked.
I can relate to that.
Yeah. And so we're just so freaking mean to ourselves, because I know that I'm beautiful now, but all of those patterns, and I think too that I think a lot of these patterns are possibly inherited, or what we saw in the home growing up, but not even being aware of it, because we're so disconnected from our bodies and from our minds and from spirit. So again, this is probably the biggest component of it. It's bigger, it's more important than the dilation. That's obviously important too, but that's not going to work if you don't fix the mind.
Exactly.
Right. That's incredible.
I want to share with you one pivotal moment.
Yes.
I was so much interested also into permaculture. It's a design of a sustainable farm, sustainable living style.
Sure.
So I went to the farm.
Yep.
And we were working so hard. We were working so hard from 6:30 a.m. till 9 p.m. We were working in the farm, and we were like 16 men and 4 women. And Amy, it was so challenging, out of my comfort zone. That farm told me tons of things about myself, how I was discouraging myself every single minute. And there was a moment that we had to lift the hay up. Hay is the lightest thing in the world. You can
Right.
just
Yeah.
say to a 3-year-old kid, lift it up. They can just lift it up. So easy. I'm talking about that kind of easy thing, right?
Yeah.
So we supposed to lift the hay up, and there was a structure, there was a frame in front of us, and throw it onto that structure, onto that frame.
Sure.
That was easy stuff, so easy. And I was the only woman there, and the others didn't come. And on my right hand side there was a man, and the other side there was a man also. So then I started to compare myself, those kind of patterns. Okay. And they were just doing it, so easy for them. I mean, for everyone actually, but they seemed so relaxed. But you had to record me. It was so obvious that there were two women in my mind. One was saying, hey, don't do it, Petek. What if you cannot lift it? What if you embarrass yourself? I'm just telling this with goosebumps, by the way.
Yeah.
What if they talk about you, that you're just a woman and you cannot do it? Don't lift it. And I was like, everybody doing this move, by the way. And I was just like frozen. And the other one was just going, hey, you can do it. Just do it. Just try it. What happens if you cannot lift it? Petek, come on. It's the lightest thing. Come on, you can do it. And I was like having maybe, 20 seconds or something, like really frozen. And I just said, okay, whatever. I'm just going to give it a try. And I lifted up. And I throwed it, it just happened. And I was like a kid, like very happy. Yeah, I did it. And I was 34 at the time.
Yeah.
Look at that limiting belief. You cannot do it.
Yeah.
Don't embarrass yourself. You are weak. Don't show it. That was my motto, don't show it. So I was pretending like I can do everything, very strong woman on the outside.
Right.
But on the inside, I was feeling very small, very weak, very passive.
Right.
I was not valuing to be a woman. To be a woman was something negative for me. That was my thing, actually.
Right.
And in that farm, in that masculine environment, I was getting triggered by every single things, Then I could grow. Then I could recognize those patterns because they were there and it was impossible to ignore them. It was impossible to see that voice, And I was just saying, hey, I'm not going to listen to you. I'm just going to lift this hay up. And it was very pivotal moment for me. Wow, I did it. I can do it.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that, because we definitely all have pivotal moments in our life where we're just thinking to ourselves, what? Because I remember when you become a Reiki practitioner, you get a Reiki guide, and you have to figure out who your Reiki guide is by connecting to them through Reiki. Well, my Reiki guide is Mother Mary. And, when you're talking about the angels and saints or Mary and Jesus, they're not, it's not in a religious sect kind of way. They're there for everybody, and what they symbolize. So Mother Mary is my Reiki guide, and she symbolizes unconditional love. So, but when I channeled her and she told me that, I was like, yeah, right. I'm not worthy. Mother Mary, right? Like Jesus's mom is going to be my Reiki guide. And then I thought, well, why the hell not? Is she not the symbolism of the mother of us all? If you kind of believe that way. And I was raised Catholic. Again, it's not, they're not connected to any type of religious sect, but that was my experience, how I was introduced.
Sure.
And I mean, we just don't believe how goddamn amazing we are. And we are amazing. We are incredible. And when we have these healers like you, like myself, who are just saying, enough is enough. No more silence. We're going to talk and we're going to talk and we're going to talk until someone hears us. That's only going to continue to inspire other women to find their truth and their power and their gifts to continue the healing. So thank you again so much for being on here. It's really, really important. So I appreciate it more than I can say.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Amy. It's really important for me also to have that kind of safe space to talk about this condition. Thank you very much.
So let everybody know how they can find you, and if you have an offering.
Yeah, they can get a free guide for healing vaginismus. The link for it is yeswecancure.com/cure. So they can get this guide from me. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Amy. Thank you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate all you ladies for listening. And please reach out. Petek's bio and information will be in the show notes so you can check things out. And you can also look her up on Facebook. Thank you, ladies. Thank you for joining me today on Women's Pelvis Wellness, where you can be heard. Because remember, if you're not being heard, you're not being helped. Please join my Facebook group by the same name, Women's Pelvis Wellness, and join a community of women who are there for you to support you, guide you, and love you through your pelvic health struggles. Also, this is a great place to check out my new class schedule. Thank you for joining me and becoming a pelvis wellness warrior.